So I'm thinking of a senior leader right now who, when I met him, his extroversion score was close to 100% on the E3. Interestingly, this friend of mine is from Venezuela. And I said, the core need behind the exhibition scale is the need to be center stage and take up all the tension. He jumped out of his chair just like this and said, I object to that. And it reminded me of a bullfighter going into the ring. And I said, did you see what you just did? What was that? That was a trip, and I rather enjoyed it. But you don't think that explains what I just said? He started laughing. So anyway, the simple behavioral changes, we got into things. He's like, man, people in my meetings aren't really speaking up much. There's a couple people who dominate the meeting. So typical, right? So typical. Then we get into this group think sort of scenario. I really want to hear from these other voices. And then I said, okay. Step one was, how much are you talking in meetings? I said, you don't have to really measure it, just what's your guess? And he said, way more than I should. And I said, okay, I'm going to give you, if you want to make this change and you want these people to speak up and you're ready to do it, commit to it, then I have something that will work. I don't often make big old claims like that, but in this one, I thought it would. I want you to share with people what you're doing, that you want to be more reserved in meetings. You may kick off the meeting, but then I want you to stay completely silent for 15 and let people know you're doing that. And it was so hard for him. And he realized like he was just dominating everything. And then he was having to sit on his hands. I just did it sort of instinctively. I wasn't thinking of it, but my hands are also cold. It's a little brisk out here today, and he just did that. And it was funny too, because we added this little thing. We made up playing cards. They were more like business cards. And they just simply said, shut up. That's pretty hard to misunderstand. Shut up. And he agreed that without any kind of fear of reprisal or anything, that anybody on the team could play those cards anytime they wanted. And that as fast as he possibly could, he had to shut up. And so we made it fun too. I don't always think this stuff needs to be like super heavy. It can be light and fun and enjoyable. And I like to bring that to the mix. So what started to happen was other folks started to speak up. And he was noticing that, because I said, notice, pay attention. Now we're into that cognitive realm. How did you feel when you weren't talking? How did it feel on the other side when these folks started speaking up? So it began with a very straightforward behavioral change of shut up. And it led to an entirely different style of leadership for this person. And he had these insights and understanding, and he had reinforcement from the team and the desired outcome of other people participating, the dominant people quieting down a little bit, so that he really was able to get a much better, more comprehensive perspective from his team. We will often begin with just what's seemingly a simple behavioral change. But we also know there's been quite a bit of literature to support this statement. If somebody commits to one positive behavioral change, it will almost inevitably trigger 5 or 7. Start going to the gym. Now you're going to be watching your diet. Now you're going to be doing better time management potentially. But one positive behavioral change will trigger 5 to 7. Then if you're communicating it, thinking about it, have somebody to help you stay on track. Now we've really got something going, and new things are opening up in one's mind and new possibilities. And I just love that approach. I think it's elegant in its simplicity and can lead to really small behavioral changes, lead to big behavioral changes. Small insights lead to big insights. Over time, they lead to entirely new learnings and ways of being.